Welcome to Gezintahait. Welcome to Gezintahait. Welcome to Gezintahait. Can you tell me how to get to Gezintahait Street? Here I go, spitting out a flow, letting you all know how to get to Gezintahait show. Yo, we're cruising with Torah and with music, singing and so yeah, you know you can't refuse it. I'm coming to the onion beloved. He always be with us, teaching mathematics. With the music we gotta sing her. I can't talk a G, I'm off a bringer. That's mental, love one another. Working together, now I tell you no. Hates after double and hate this day. Morty Epstein plays a mathematics figure. And I'll introduce you to another holy eagle. Late smoke, skins, harmony, and scrums. Strings on guitar, on the bongo drum. The limbs, yeah, the show is uniform. Gezintahait, facing up one commercial. And last, but not least, my name is Mordechai the Jew. And if you like me, then I like you too. Gezintahait is my debut. Mashiach, now Mashiach, Seitzei. Yeah, enjoy the show.
Hey, kids! What time is it?
Time for Gezintahait Street!
Thanks, Morty. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gezintahait Street. The story for tonight is called The Last Laugh. The Zohar tells a story that on Rosh Hashanah, by the way, now is the month of Elul. In a few weeks, we're coming up on the new year, which is called Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. The Zohar tells a story that on Rosh Hashanah, the meaning of the word Mavarech means should be blessed, was revealed to Rabbi Yitzhak the Button. And it was revealed to him in a dream. The word Mavarech, which means be blessed, combines opposite dynamics. The first part, Mev, means harsh judgment. It's a name of Hashem, Mem Beis, that indicates judgment, harsh judgment. While the second half, Rach, Mev Rach, means soft and good. Similarly, the first of the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, is a day of judgment. While the last days, which is Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah, are days of unmitigated joy. So the days of awe include this dynamic that's in the word to be blessed, which starts off with harsh judgments, and it ends up with good and happiness. The Rebbe's father explains this story from the Zohar, which explains the secret of the word Mavarech, be blessed, and why it had to be revealed to this guy named Rabbi Yitzhak the Button in particular, and why it was in a dream, and why especially on Rosh Hashanah. Imagine how exact the Zohar is. The story is about Yitzhak the Button, explaining him the word Mavarach, to be blessed, and it happened on Rosh Hashanah and in a dream. And the Rebbe's father now comes to explain why all these details are necessary in the story. In sleep, a person's true intellect, called the big brain, is minimized, right? And when you're dreaming, when you're sleeping, your brains are minimized. And they're hidden by the small intellect, which is the images of the dream. The true intellect, the big brain, later is finally revealed through the one who interprets the dream for good. The famous dream interpreter is Yosef Atzadik. Yosef interpreted Paro's dreams. He symbolizes the attribute of Yesod, the supernal attribute that connects the emotions, which the emotions are generated by the intellect, and those emotions are then connected to the thought. And that's a level of a Yesod connects the emotions to the thoughts. How do I know I love something? Because I think I do. Just as this level of Yesod, Yosef Atzadik, connects, so too a button connects. This is Rabbi Yitzhak, the button that had this dream. Hence, Yitzhak the button's second name. That's why he's called Yitzhak the button. Because he was able to connect this thing of to be blessed and explain it in its detail. And the name button, which is Kaftorah, contains the word poter, which means being able to explain a dream. Yosef was poter chalomos. And that's included in Rabbi Yitzhak's name, Rabbi Yitzhak, the button, the kappa. The second half of the word Mavarach, the first word means harsh, like harsh judgments, like we have in Rosh Hashanah. And the second part of it is rach, soft and happy. That happens on Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah. And that is the Yom Tov of Yosef. Like it says, Pesach is Avraham Avinu, Shavuos is Yitzhak Avinu, and Sukkot is Avraham Avinu. The Yom Tov of Shmini Atzeres corresponds to Yosef. Yosef Atzadik, Yosef Tzadik, which is the level of Yesod, which is the foundation that connects the levels of godliness that are higher than the world. Could be the level of a dream, it's higher than any kind of limits. A ship could fly in the air. And the level of Malchus, the level of thought and speech, which has exact limits and logic to it. And this Yosef is symbolized by a button because the button is able to connect two opposite things. Now, Paro's dreams fell on Rosh Hashanah. You know, Paro had a dream that there was 7 fat cows and they got eaten up by 7 skinny cows. And there were 7 good grains of corn that got eaten up by 7 bad grains of corn. And Yosef was able to explain those dreams to Paro in Rosh Hashanah, just like Yitzhak the button had this explanation of Mavarech to be blessed on Rosh Hashanah in a dream. And that's when Yosef was released from jail, was in Rosh Hashanah. And Yosef was called Avrach, the father of softness, the father of easy goodness. And it happens that Shmini Atzeres is 22 days from Rosh Hashanah, which parallels the fact that Yosef's dreams Remember, he had a dream. He told his brothers about his father and mother, and all the brothers bowed down to him, were fulfilled 22 years after he was judged by his brothers and sold into slavery. Our Rebbe asks, what's the connection between the word Mavarach, to be blessed? How is that connected to a dream? And furthermore, the Rebbe says, what connection does strict judgment, which is the first part of the word Mavarach, have to a blessing? Blessing is a kindness. How do we have harsh judgment? Mixed in the word to be blessed. The answer is that in the very creation of the world, we see a combination of judgment and kindness. It says, it rose up by Hashem to create a world with the attribute of strict judgment, Mav. But through the attribute of strict judgment, the world could not stand. So Hashem added mercy, which is kindness, and happiness and sorrow. Strict judgment is manifest through a contraction of the infinite light, so that no revelation of godliness remains. This allows for the existence of worlds. If godliness, infinity was revealed, infinite light, there could be no world. So by hiding the light, now there could be an existence of a world. And those worlds appear that they exist separately from Hashem. Then, after allowing the possibility by holding back the light of seeming independent existence, Hashem adds on a measure of kindness and mercy. And what is that kindness and mercy we see in the world? The revelation of righteous people and miracles. So there's a holding back of godliness to allow the existence of worlds. But Hashem adds mercy and kindness. And how is that? Through miracles in the existence of the righteous people. So now we can understand how a blessing, Mavarach, is a combination of strict judgment, Mav, and kindness and mercy, which is Ra. Because in order to have, by the way, Mavarach is what we answer in Kaddish. We say, Yehesh Mei Rabba Mavarach, the great name should be blessed. And that's what we say in Kaddish, that the magnification of Hashem's great name should be blessed, should be drawn down to us. The attribute of strict judgment, the Mav part of that Mavarach, is necessary. Because through that hiding and contraction, the vessels which contain and spread the godly revelation are formed. Finally, in fact, through the vessels, the infinite light itself will be revealed to us, which is the fulfillment of the true godly intention. In fact, this is Hashem's intention in sending the soul into a physical body. On high, the soul, the neshama, had an open revelation of godliness. The descent of the soul into a body and into a physical world, where there's no revelation of godliness, and then there's a further descent into a state of exile. Why? In order that the soul will be able to achieve a higher level of godly revelation than it had before it descended. And what's that revelation? The revelation of Hashem himself. Not light, not infinity, but the revelation of Hashem himself, which is impossible to be revealed. And that's what will happen through our service in this dark exile. In our time of exile, when the revelation of godliness is completely concealed, with many coverings, and the flow of livelihood is much less than when we had the Holy Temple, when it said each one was under his own date tree and under his own fig tree, means everybody had a good living. The worries and occupation in making a living involves a person's whole heart and soul. It takes it away from Hashem. So naturally, our service of Torah and mitzvahs is much more restricted now. That's the darkness. That's the neb. That's the holding back. But the godly intention is this, that our service will be perfected through prevailing over any obstacles which exist through lack of godly revelation. In simple terms, since there's no revelation of godliness, and we're all occupied in making a living, any little thing we do for Hashem is a magnification of his name. And just as the creation combines opposites, hiding and revelation, Neb and Ra, so too does a dream combine opposites. A dream connects opposites, making them one entity. In sleep, the intellect, which tells the difference between reality and its opposite, leaves its place, and what remains is only the power of imaging, of imagination. And that power of imagination can unify opposites. Like an ocean vessel can fly in the air. Or the Alter Rebbe or the Rebbe could be put in jail. So too, in the exile, which is likened to a dream, the godly soul becomes invested in a person who's asleep and whose true brain has departed. This is a nice long story, and we'll continue it after our conversation with Mark. Hi, Mark. You like this story? You like that loss in the
you
dark?
know, it's me, Marvin Kaftora. Yeah, Marvin who pushes your buttons. That's me. I got a question.
Yeah?
Well, the times of Mashiach that are going to be so great. Everybody will have their own fig tree and their own iPhone tree. What was the other thing? Oh, date tree.
Money tree.
Money tree. And then they can do Torah and mitzvot. Wait a second, they're taking my living.
But you're going to help us, Marvin.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to bring us
Wow,
diamonds
that
and
seems,
gold.
that seems out of character for me.
Right, exactly. God's going to be inside of you and be revealed.
Wow, you mean a Yetzer Hara can do Teshuvah too?
Oh, yeah.
Wow! I'm going to be like some kind of, see, like I told you, I'm going to be some kind of like big tzaddik or something.
Big time.
And you
dude.
laughed at me for good reason. Well, how about a joke song?
Nice song. Okay, so Rosh Hashanah is coming up. So I'm going to do my version of Avinu Malkeinu. Everybody knows Avinu Malkeinu means our Father, our King. Okay, you want to sing it with me, Morty? Okay, here's Morty. Okay, you ready? Oh, Tati, our King, why don't you do a good thing? And please return with your people. And the angels all sing, oh, glorious King, won't you please return with your people? They made you a crown, won't you come back to town? And please return with your people. Oh, Tati, our King, you know it don't mean a thing unless you please return with your people. Now come on, children. We're gonna have some fun.
We're gonna have some fun.
You ain't seen nothing like the Holy One. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Can't get me out now. Or do I have to wait? But this over here is a warm-up. Any minute now, the Mashiach is going to walk in here with his 10-string guitar and start blowing out the house. Do. Okay. Should we finish the story? Yeah, let's finish.
Yeah, why not?
Do. So a dream, no, the exile is compared to a dream. We can work all day at our job, even though when we daven in the morning, we're aroused to love and fear Hashem and completely be attached to Him. And after davening, the love goes away. We have to start thinking about how we're making a living, which is the opposite of davening. The coming of the soul into exile in the body is also a combination of opposites. Like a dream, physical and spiritual, and the whole service of Torah and mitzvahs in this spiritual world is a combination of opposites, spiritual and physical. The intention in this sleep meaning that the physicality of the world appears a reality to us like a dream, and the combining of these opposites is to reveal a level that is higher than both, that is higher than spiritual and higher than physical. A dream has a source in a very exalted plane called the Holy Supernal Mountains, which are symbolized by circles or wheels. And in their spinning, there is no top and bottom. Sometimes the top is on top and sometimes the top is on the bottom. Everything is included as one. It's only when these images come into the straight lines of intellect and logic that there's a right and a left. Not so in the level of circles, which is the level of dreams, where everything is equally included as one. But this high level, which is the source of dreams, in which opposites become unified, cannot be revealed below. Revelation is through intellect, whose lines are clearly delineated and separate. Only in sleep and dreams, like the exile, when the intellect is departed, like the object of the sleep metaphor. Yitzhak the button was asleep when he got the explanation. The exile is a dream. Can this higher light spark out? This happens through the perfection of our service in exile, which is the level of dream sleep. And through that service, we'll reach the heights of the source of dreams, the level which is higher than separate delineations, the level of Hashem himself. When Hashem returns the captives, we'll be like dreamers. Hashem is going to make a big circle, we're going to dance around, we're going to point with our fingers, and we're going to say, there's God. Now, we can see the connection between Mavarach, be blessed, and a dream. Remember, he got the explanation of Mavarach in a dream. Specifically in a dream, the meaning of Mavarach is revealed. It's these two opposites that are connected. And the meaning is that we need a hidingness in order to draw down and magnify the great name of Hashem. Just like a dream combines opposites. The essential message of Mavarach, which is the blessing, the combination of opposites, brings down the revelation of a very high supernal light to the worlds, which is Hashem's great name. And that revelation, the level of Ra, is due to the initial hiding of godliness, like we said, which is Ma. Like in a dream, the drawing down of a very high level comes through the hiding at the time of sleep, which symbolizes the additional revelation caused by our service in the night of exile. And this was seen in the release of Yosef from jail in Egypt to interpret the dreams of Pharaoh. And also, the release of the Alter Rebbe, whose birthday is coming up next week, to allow the spreading of the wellsprings of Hasidus. The Alter Rebbe was arrested, and when he was released, there was a decree on high that now the Hasidus could be spread out in a way it could be understood internally through Chabad. And the release of the previous Rebbe, which leads to another explanation of why the inner meaning of the word Mavarach, to be blessed, was explained to Rabbi Yitzhak the Button. The name Yitzhak is connected to laughter, like Sarah said. She laughed when she heard she's going to have a baby when she was, how old? 99 years old. She said, Hashem caused me to laugh, which indicates the supernal laughter, this Yitzhak the Button, which at first glance, he starts out with a negative mob, and then it finally ends up to a positive. But the name Yitzhak itself indicates laughter and heavenly enjoyment. Hashem gets happiness out of this, what we do in the exile, which is drawn down through the name Elohim, which indicates the attribute of non-revelation, which is Ma. Through the contraction of the godly life, symbolized through the name Elohim, godliness is hidden, like we said, Mav is hiddenness, in order that a person should prevail over the obstacles of godly service. And through this service, Hashem gets great joy and laughter. That's the first name, Yitzhak, is really yet laughter. It seems to be a harsh judgment, a holding back. But it's really the level of godly laughter which will be finally revealed. The second name, Button, Kaptorah, indicates the unification of two opposites in the godly dynamic. There's a hiding of the outer life in order for revelation of the essence of Hashem. Hashem's essence can't be revealed where there's any kind of other kind of revelation. Like every button serves as a connector. And actually, these unification of opposites, which was revealed through a dream, is now in reality accomplished. Like the previous Rebbe, whose name is Yitzchak, Yosef Yitzchak, declared we have completed all the service necessary, including polishing the buttons. The previous Rebbe's name was Yosef Yitzchak. The Yosef was first. The Rock was first. The Shmini Atzeres is first. And then the revelation of laughter, Yosef Yitzchak. Therefore, in Yitzchak the button, we see the completion of the service in exile. The whole existence of the exile, of the hidingness of Hashem, which comes about through harsh judgments, mob, is finally only a dream. We're dreamers. And the true reality is the true and final redemption, when our mouth will be filled with laughter, the level where we will call Yitzhak our Father, because the supernal laughter and joy which was accomplished through our service in exile will be revealed. Soon, our mouths will be filled with laughter. The harsh judgments of Moab are about to be eliminated. And the equation of Yitzhak will be manifest through laughter, not through harsh judgment. Laughter and joy, and only pure blessing and happiness will remain, the pure rejoicing of Shmini Atzeres. In joy, like it says, we will sing the 10th song. Our mouth will be filled with laughter, and our tongue will express jubilation.
Amen.
What do we have? A niggun now?
We have a poem song thing.
Yeah.
There we go. We got everybody.
Ba-dum, ba-bum.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da. Oh.
One must be just the weights and measures
said that the anchor book for our show, it's called The Essence of Hasidus, and explains in there that the hinted meaning when we thank Hashem in the morning for our soul, and the hinted meaning, it hints to the resurrection of the dead when the person gets up. And it's a realization that creation is being brought into being new every second. When I'm sleeping, I have no consciousness. And now, all of a sudden, here's a world. So it hints to the fact that not only there's a resurrection of the dead, that the whole world is renewed every minute. So too, in the soul's journey to this world and being clothed in the darkness of the animal soul and a body, which is symbolized by a person who goes to work in a field in order to grow and satisfy his bodily needs. He's growing bread. But in that work, when his attention is to serve Hashem by picking up the sparks of holiness, then he accomplishes the soul's mission in coming to the field. And that field is the symbol for this world. Similarly, in the month of Elul, when we're preparing for the new year, there is a metaphor, a parable that the Alter Rebbe brings, that all of the people of the capital city go out to the field to greet the returning king. And he receives each one happily with a joyous countenance. Now is our chance to get close with Hashem in a good and happy way and an easy way. So therefore, once we get close to Hashem now, when the king returns to his palace, those people who bolstered and renewed their relationship with the king sincerely through Torah and prayer and heartfelt return, they accompany the king for the high holidays and days of awe as an honored member of the king's entourage. And there's a similarity to the soul coming down into the world, into the field, because both of them happen in the field. And in both of these metaphors, Hashem's participation is not revealed. We don't really see Hashem. Our meeting with the king in both instances are manifestations of his 13 attributes of mercy, which are higher than the world and therefore higher than revelation. But the two metaphors have something different about them. In the metaphor of the soul coming into the body to work in the field, the 13 attributes are manifest to the animal soul, right? Everybody has an animal soul. Everybody knows that, what goes after physicality. And everybody has a godly soul, what goes after spirituality. And the 13 attributes in the metaphor of the soul coming in to work in the field from its high level in the heavenly realms, the 13 attributes are manifest to the animal soul, because our job in the world is to purify and uplift the animal soul. That's why we come down here. We don't need it for ourselves. And it's symbolized by the metaphor of grass for cattle. It's an animal soul. And how do we get that grass for the cattle? Through the angels. But the manifestation of the 13 attributes of mercy now in the month of Elul, the king is in the field, does not connect to the soul through the animal soul and the angels of the chariot. The chariot has 4 faces. The face of a lion, the face of an eagle, the face of a bull, and the face of a man. But there's a man who's running the chariot. And that's the parable for the godly soul that connects with Hashem in the field now in the days of Elul. He doesn't require any angels, the godly soul. He connects with Hashem directly. And the metaphor is that he passes us not in grass, but he passes us in roses. A roe b'shashani. Not connected to the angels and the animal soul like the feeding of grass, which is the rest of the year, not in the month of Elul. The month of Elul, there's an elevation where we connect directly to Hashem, not through angels, not through grass, through roses. And the metaphor of roses indicates a revelatory state. Just like the 13 petals of a rose surround the middle and the heart of the rose, Hashem's connection to us through those 13 attributes, now in the month of Elul, is too high to be revealed. It completely surrounds us. It can't come inside. So let's understand a little bit the opportunity that we're availed right now in this month to be close to Hashem and prepare for the new year, the month of coronation and celebration, to join the entourage of the king. These 13 levels of mercy, there's multiple levels of revelation. You have the 13 where it's the grass, where it's the whole year. And then you have the 13 where it's the roses, which is in the month of Elul, which also comprises all 40 days until the day of Yom Kippur. And then you have a third level of the 13 attributes, which is on Simchas Torah, which is exactly 13 days after Yom Kippur. And let's see exactly what happens when the king returns from the field to the capital city. You have the first night of Rosh Hashanah, and Rosh Hashanah has multiple metaphors. And the first night, it's like the king is asleep. It's a night of harsh judgment. All of the judgment angels come up to the king and report all of our lacking and everything that we missed and every way we didn't serve God nicely during the year. The accusers are rampant. Hashem makes himself like he's asleep. Judgment is imminent. Everything is mobbed. It's a time of judgment. And there's another metaphor for this first night, which will be like a guy who owns a store. And he wants to sell the store. And therefore he has no happiness in the store. He has no enjoyment in it. He keeps it open because he wants to sell it. He doesn't want to just close it up. But he's not into it. He's not involved in it. So the same way it says Hashem is asleep the first night of Rosh Hashanah. But what happens the next day, when the shofar is blown, the king awakes. The accusers are blown out. The king stands up. The shofar is blown. His son returns. It's another metaphor. Like the son of the king got captured by his enemies and was put into a jail and was in that jail for 20 years and even forgot the language of his country. And he got away and he came back to the palace of the king and he couldn't get in because he didn't know how to say who he was. So what did he do? He cried from his heart. The blow of the shofar. There's no words involved. There's not even the voice of the person. It's an animal horn. It's a simple cry. And that cry, where's Morty? Morty, you want to do the shofar sound? Morty's going to do, you're not allowed to blow a shofar at night, so Morty's going to do them on a kazoo.
You're not to blow a kazoo at night.
Yeah. when the king hears the cry of his son, his returning son, the king answers in happiness and delight. By the son, it sounds like crying. Ah, ha, 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 ha. And the king answers like laughing, the same sound. The king is having delight in the return of his son. And there's a reunion with the king and his son. And the shofar now represents the horn of plenty, where all the delights of the world come revealed through this dynamic of Rosh Hashanah. And that sound, those blasts of the shofar, then ascend through the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to finally become the incense cloud in the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur. Like Hashem says, you will see me in the cloud. And then the presence of Hashem descends to become the schach, the roof of the sukkah. That the 100 blasts of the shofar become the schach, which adds up to 100. It's still surrounding, but it's coming closer. Now it's still coming closer through the partying in the sukkah and the guests that come to the sukkah and the simplest space of Shueva, until finally it comes into the heart. The presence of Hashem comes into the heart through our doing of the mitzvah of lulav. Finally, all the way to the feet with our dancing on Simchas Torah. And all these levels are manifest through the 13 midos of mercy.
King and son.
Oh!
Yeah.
King.
You gotta come here to the camera and see it.
You gotta go in there.
No, over here, over here.
Oh, shit.
That's the clumsiest king I ever heard.
Is it still
One second.
What a clutch. The king clutch. Okay, how we doing with that 3,000-year-old puppet?
I think he's ready to go.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
That's cool. No, you're good.
No, I thought King and the Son, this was like, I was inspired to do this King and my Son.
Get on that camera with it.
We gotta come back here to be on the camera.
Yeah, come back here. I'm getting out of the way.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
the King.
now Uncle Hershey is going to interview the 3,000-year-old puppet about what happened in this parsha in the Torah. Okay, Uncle Hershey?
Fine with me. Here we are in the Jewish Experience portion of the program tonight. Today, whenever you're listening to the program. And one of the special things, waiting for the puppet to get out of his 3,000-year-old slumber here.
Yep.
But one of the special things about this parsha is this parsha has more mitzvahs in it than any other parsha in the Torah. It's packed, loaded, and ready to go. So there's a lot to talk about here.
Action-packed parsha.
You knew that? So to speak.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I kind of remember it.
Well, it's hard
was,
to remember all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff to
Well, it was
remember.
a long time ago, too.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because my passport says I'm at least like 3,000 or something.
Something like that. You were there, so that's the main thing.
I'm actually, you know, puppets from today. You know, they made out of like special, like raised polyester felt. I'm actually made out of a papyrus paper. You know.
Papyrus. But
That's what they used to make us back then. I'm like half puppet, half mummy.
You have puppet conventions?
Puppet conventions?
Puppets, yeah, you can throw up a 3,000.
I have them all the time. I go to the puppet graveyard to visit all my friends.
You're probably the elder statesman of the puppet.
I think I'm the only statesman by now. Anyways,
So here we go. The
Seitzei.
party this week is Seitzei.
yeah.
Have more mitzvahs than Carter has pills. So
Well, almost as many as Carter has pills. That's
Carter had a
official.
lot of pills. We have a lot of mitzvahs here. And
Yeah.
we do. Okay. So let's talk
Well,
about some.
first of all, it talks about when you go out to war with your enemies, and the Eibishter will give them in your hands, and you will see a beautiful woman, and you will want to take her into your house. to be your wife, and you will have to first, she has to sit on the Vizakmin. She has to shave the head and sit on the floor and cry for her parents for a month, and then she should take her for a wife. It's very interesting. The Rebbe explains something interesting about this. He says, what is this woman? This woman is the neshama. Because you know, Parshas Seitzei, we always read during Elul time, which is a time of tshuva, a time of returning to God, of repenting and returning to God, right? Like, what do you think, returning or returning? I think returning is better for me, yeah? Fits me better. Yeah. Anyways, so it says, what it means, when you take this woman, you take the neshama back from the enemy. Then what you do, it should sit in the month of Elul for a whole month. What month is this? The month of Elul. It will sit and it will cry and do tshuva, and then after this, isha, and she will be for you a wife. In other words, you will be for the Eibishter a wife because you did teshuva.
Right, but you really don't want to take her for a wife. I mean, that's the whole.
Well, in the real story, but this is just in other words, the deeper meaning of the neshama. In the real story, no, not so much. In fact, the next thing you find the next thing it talks about is when a person has two wives, and one he loves and one he doesn't love. Well, what happened was this one that he took from the enemy, that he gemacht the eyes on her, you know.
Right.
And then you know, it was gemacht with the blinky, and then all of a sudden you're not liking her so much because Feist, it's she's so beautiful. I'll take her into my house. You know these women from his race, the Plishtim, whatever they're from. They're so what's it called? They're so nice. All of a sudden, it's fine. A month passes. She cries for her parents. She's in the house, and she's like, and then she says,
What kind of shit is this? Is it Egyptian's cotton? Who's made the Amazon's account?
Oh, you better give out. What did I do?
And then you got to deal with your first wife.
Right, and then the other one, right, exactly. The other wife says, wait a minute. Anyways, so this is causing problems.
Right.
And also the other thing is the Bechayr doesn't make a difference. You like the other wife more. This wife will have your first son. This is the Bechayr. This is the oldest. Could have, yeah. And in that case, then he gets all the
double portion,
everything. Yeah, like this. And also, the next thing it talks about after that is a Ben Seder Omeire.
Right.
A rebellious child. And it says this, you will get a rebellious child because even the mother you made is by you, but really she sticks to her ways secretly.
Sure.
And then she teaches her children. And now you have a child, a Parshas.
Take it, a child.
You know, yeah.
He's a glutton.
Right.
Yeah, you're a bad boy.
You have to take him on the back, smack him around a little bit.
Right. But anyways, so this is why really, you should not do this. Anyways, after this, the next thing it talks about is that when somebody gets, hey, Bubble,
how you doing? Are you having a good time?
Bubble?
Hi, baby.
Hi, nice to see you, Bubble.
Hi.
Yeah, this is my grandson. He's a young boy. He's only 2,000 years old.
2,547 years
he's
old.
Practically a baby. This one, yeah. Yeah, practically a baby. He was born in the times of like the Gemara or something. He was
My
a baby.
mommy said I'm a big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
My mommy said.
Anyways, how's the name? Yeah, that's it.
That's another song.
Exactly. That's a different Parshas.
Right.
But anyways, it also talks about making sure to care for other people's property.
Right.
And also about cross-dressing. You see, the Torah talks about very things that we talk about today. But and it's interesting because the Rebbe talks about this, because he talks about that often you have in the world that people think that they have this that they want that the women should be the same like the men. And the Rebbe always said, no, a woman is equal like a man. She's also made just like a man. She made in the image of God.
Right.
But to be the same as a man is a big mistake.
You know why? To do that, you got to be very careful. Because what does it promote?
What does it promote?
I'm supposed to know that. Anyway,
liberalism.
No, it promotes adultery, which you don't want to have.
Exactly.
That's why you want to keep it separate.
But also, what the Rebbe talks about is he says that it's just the opposite. It's not a bigger respect for a woman to try to make her like a man. It's less respect because you're not respecting that a woman has certain certain
woman is
qualities
way up
that a
above
man
that.
can't
She
do
lowers,
nothing about.
she lowers herself down because a woman is partners with Hashem in creation. It's a major role.
Hershey, I don't know who this one is. That's not my grandchild. This one is creepy.
This one creeped in here a little bit.
I mean, and I'm a puppet, and I'm telling you this one's
It's
creepy,
creepy
okay?
stuff. Yeah, it's creepy
Yeah, this
stuff.
one is creepy.
Okay, she's going away.
Anyways, so because, and this is, the Rebbe says it's important to recognize that the men have special qualities, the women have special qualities. And then we talk about sending away the mother boy.
Right?
Yeah, leave the mother boy. That
The
you
boy?
send her away before you take the eggs.
Right.
Yeah, because it's you know.
No, it's not
And
nice.
something else interesting is that when you have it's a lot of halachas. We're gonna
I'm
go
telling you,
life
it's got
like
a
through
lot
here.
of stuff
But
in there.
if you build a house and it has a roof that's flat that people could walk on, you have to make a
Right,
gate.
you have to make a gate.
Which is interesting. The Rebbe talks about what means a roof. It means a roof means your ego. Right? A roof is the highest part, right? It means the ego, and the Rebbe says when you have a roof, you need to make a fence to keep in check your ego.
Correct.
So you don't fall off your roof. So you don't your ego
Let your
doesn't
ego
take
run
you.
amok.
Yeah,
Right.
amok.
Amok.
In Gans amok.
This muck egos. We got a situation with monk egos running around, so we got to be really
Yes.
careful about it.
Exactly.
All right.
Anyways,
true.
it also talks about not that you can't have shatnez. You mix
Right.
between wearing a mix between wool and linen in the same garment,
Right.
and different kinds of plowing a field with an ox and a donkey together. That's like if you had me and Lay pulling at the same time. You know, an ox
That's
not
an
fair.
issue.
He's
That's
not
a
fair.
big issue.
An ox fair English.
I mean,
This is like my English. Ox fair. I talk like an ox and I speak like a fair. Yeah. Anyways, what else?
A lot of them.
There's so much stuff. There's all kinds of things. It talks about
Okay.
marriage things, which marriage allowed, which
Right.
marriage not allowed,
Right.
and also keeping the purity of the camp. And it's interesting because it says, especially in a time of war,
Right.
because when you're going out to war, anytime there's a danger, there's a possibility for more judgment
Exactly.
from upstairs. So especially in this time, and it says especially the soldiers would have to be careful to stay, you know. And the Rebbe says it's interesting because in these times of goals, we all at war,
Right.
right? And he says we have to realize we all soldiers in the Hashem's army.
Civil Hashem.
Tzivos Hashem, Hashem's army, we soldiers, so we have to be vigilant to do Torah and mitzvahs and this way we can help bring Mashiach.
Amen.
And what else? It's also about modesty,
Right.
right? About being modest and about not charging interest, right? You can't charge
Well,
another
that's
Jew
only you
interest.
can charge a non-Jew interest, but you can't.
Not a
charge
Jew, you can't say another Jew
Because a
interest.
Jew is your brother.
Right. And about fulfilling, it's interesting, fulfilling pledges. And long before there was any sort of unions and this and that, the Torah talks about employee rights.
Correct.
So there's all the rights of an employee and how you have to make sure to pay them on time and this kind of
Can't
thing.
withhold wages.
Yeah, and it talks about divorce and weddings and collecting debts. That's kind of all intertwined, you see.
Correct.
Anyways, about all kinds of different things and paying wages on time and testimonies and about, very careful, be very careful with the orphan and the widow and the convert also, to take care of them extra special, right? There's also a few other things in here about like how they do different punishments and this kind of thing. The final thing though in the Parsha is something very interesting. It goes back to remembering Amalek, which is kind of interesting because Amalek was the nation that came out and they tried to attack us. But it's interesting because it says remember to forget Amalek. What kind of thing is this? Wipe them out and don't talk about them.
Right.
If we keep bringing them up every time and saying remember to forget about them, how are you supposed to forget about them? So the Rebbe says something very interesting on this issue. He says that the remembrance it's not just on the Amalek that was then. It's about this Amalek. This Amalek is always in us and tries to make us cold from doing Torah and
That's right.
mitzvahs.
So Amalek means a doubt.
Right.
It's a doubt of what's going on. Chas v'sholom, we can't have a doubt about what Hashem wants us
Exactly.
to do.
And the only way to do this is you have to wipe this out in Gansen altogether. Wipe these tendencies out. And
Correct.
this you have to remember all the time.
Sure.
So this is why it says remember to wipe out the memory of Amalek.
Right.
Because this is a very
Remember to
important
wipe out the doubt. You
Yeah.
can go in 100%.
Exactly, because Because when you in, when you out, you out.
That's a song.
Yeah. Well, I say it a little bit different. When you're in, when you're out, you out. I don't care if it's a potem, I don't care if it's a stout.
Okay, get the hook. Get the
All
hook.
right, we got the
Anyway,
hook.
that's the Parsha for this week.
Okay, now it's
Back to you,
Good
Samuel.
good.
Da-da-da-da.
That's a packed Parsha there.
That was
That's loaded.
good part.
It's loaded.
Yeah, every 3 psukim, you got a whole new sukkah starting.
Just remember,
Okay,
it's
we're
all
going to
right.
skip a lot of these pages because it's getting late.
Yeah, we're going over time here. but that's all right.
Yeah, we don't want to go.
We're 56 seconds over time.
Is that
We're still on the air?
Yeah, believe it or not.
A lot of this is just repetition of the others. So it says, Hashem says, the reason you would think that the real mercy should be on the animal soul, because mercy is on the one that's on the lowest level. So why does the animal soul have to get the grass from the angels? And the godly soul gets the roses from Hashem because it's the godly soul is asleep. It gets completely lost. And Hashem says, why did you get completely lost? You didn't serve me with happiness and with a good heart. Therefore I became cold to you.
Do us Hashem b'simcha.
Right. Ibdu es Hashem b'simcha. And this happiness is happiness in doing Torah and mitzvahs. We're happy. Why? Because Hashem gets satisfaction from what we're doing. And when is this satisfaction with our service revealed? On Simchas Torah, which is 13 days after Yom Kippur. It's the arousal of the 13 that we had during the 10 days when the blast ascended to the smoke of the incense, but now it becomes revealed. Now these 13 attributes descend, they become revealed on Simchas Torah. Everybody watch out for Simchas Torah. Come to a shul. Go to a Chabad shul. Have fun. Jubilate on Simchas Torah. If you happen to be in Pittsburgh, come over to us. We'll give you some schmaltz herring and we'll have a lot of fun. And there will be the revelation of happiness with Hashem and our connection to Him on Simchas Torah, because our tshuva, Torah and mitzvahs, and Hashem's happiness with us,
Dancing with the Torahs.
and the dancing with the Torah, which was first happened on Yom Kippur. Moshe went up and got the second tablets. And that thing, that connection, will be revealed for us on Simchas Torah. Through the light of the Torah that's encapsulated by the tablets, those 13 attributes are drawn down. What we had in the 10 days of Tshuva between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But it all remains hidden until Simchas Torah. So the whole thing that we're doing now, in these 40 days, between the beginning of Elul and Yom Kippur, is really all a preparation for Simchas Torah. And have it in mind, it's the happiness in doing Torah and mitzvahs and connecting with Hashem is the bottom line.
A niggin from the Alter Rebbe for the month of Elul.
The Alter Rebbe Nigger for the month of Elul. somebody who needs it. It's one of the mitzvahs of Hashem that he loves dearly. Now we're going to have our sign-off.
Sounds
song.
good to me.
Everybody in? Where's
We're all
Morty?
in. Morty and Morty, troublemaker. He
Hit the
disappeared
right
somewhere.
jack.
Okay.
And they're sneaking into the liquor
Okay.
closet.
Gazelle.